Hello, yes, we say fantastic day to you, and how can we be of assistance at this time?
Hello, thank you for wishing me a fantastic day. This is more of a personal consultation because I've witnessed some files of thoughts within myself. Do you sense something in my energy, my aura?
There's some fear, yes. Fear of rejection, perhaps sensitivity from past experience.
That's exactly it. There's something cropped up, and there's also something in the news worldwide, and somehow this is triggering something in me. It's an anxiety. And it's reminding me of several situations where I have been quite brutally rejected by communities, by communities. And for example, in Siem Reap, there is someone who I invited to come to one of my concerts that hear me play music. And they contacted me to say that somebody, and they wouldn't tell me who, but I think it's more than one person, was saying really bad things about me and to stay away from me and to not go to my concerts. I've never found out anything more than that. I kind of just ignored it and was in my own vibration and feeling well. But I realized that this isn't an isolated incident. There are other incidents in my life where I'm completely blind to a social rejection by a community, and then I realize there's a social rejection, and I don't know why. So this is a recurring theme in my life. I want to ask you about this.
Well, the idea of rejection is an interpretation, as in oftentimes when there is rejection taking place, you're being redirected or you're being protected. In other words, you are being redirected to other connections and away from people that don't really resonate with you. While you might be attracted to something within some of these people, they ultimately don't match your vibration in some way. To be rejected by community can happen for many different reasons, and each case is unique because you are breaking old paradigms and you're allowing yourself to think further outside of the box than other people are, and you're willing to question the values of a society and of a community and of a culture, you have a greater history and tendency to be pushed to the margins because most people want to keep things in that neat little box.
Right. Um, when you say it's an interpretation, the thought that crossed my mind that the kinds of rejection I've had are not an interpretation. They are so blatant and extreme several times in my life.
How do you know that you were not being protected by something worse happening?
Oh, I agree with that. I agree that there has been a mismatch with my energy and with many communities. And the protection thing, yes, I can see that too. But it does get to feel like, where is there on this planet, or who is there on the planet? I mean,
Don't take for granted the friends that you have, the family that you have, those who care for you and are there for you when you need them. This is community. And even though you might dream of there being more people or people who understand even deeper, the community grows when you appreciate and you continue to nurture the connections that are already flourishing.
yeah, there's something else that's on my mind. I'm not quite sure how or why it's triggering me. But there is a famous music celebrity in America, and there's a trial, and some awful things are coming out in the trial. Some real terrible cruelties and abuse of people. And at the same time, there is this cover up. Anyone who tries to just be normal and say, look, what's going on, was destroyed and threatened. And this has reminded me, for example, of times I was in the European Commission in Brussels, and I was a very honest and simple, straightforward person. And several times there seems to have been something that was not simple and straightforward there. And I just kept my innocence and kept by the statute, kept by the rules, and kept by what was right and moral. And I know that that kind of led to some situations where I was rejected in certain ways and hampered, and my career was prevented, for example. So I think the situation in America and the corruption and the evil that was going on somehow triggered something about my own experiences uh, in in my own history.
Yes, because you have stood up for what was right. You've stood up for justice. And this thing with the celebrities in America is, in some sense, is the tip of the iceberg, because there are so many of these experiences that happen wherein people get involved in entertainment and fame because they seek more and more power, but eventually money stops making them feel more powerful. And so they have to find their power through control. And they go to extremes to see how deeply they can control others. And this is a loser's game because it leads to relentless dissatisfaction and forever wanting more and more power. And there are many involved in this. Though, instead it all to inspire some sense of appreciation that this is being exposed and many people are now able to see what's taking place. There's many levels of this massive disclosure of the truth. It's an ever ongoing process that is accelerating in your times. So appreciate, yes, that things are being exposed.
Yes, thank you. I do appreciate that, and I'm just aware of, since yesterday, thoughts coming and anxieties. I'm witnessing something in myself.
Yeah.
I will also say I can't recall ever witnessing anything directly, but I did work out that the statute logically was set up to cover up anything.
Yes.
I could work out logically that there could be some corruption, and I was not going to look there. But if somebody wanted to look there, it would be better to set this up in a way where there wasn't anywhere for corruption to be.
Yes.
And I did make that clear. But I didn't actually witness anything. But I think there was this mixed reaction to me where some thought, well, he's able to cause trouble. And others did find a way to support me, but it meant me leaving the European Commission.
Yes. In a way, this was protecting you as well.
Totally. I've been so protected, and I had the good instinct not to look, not to go any further, but just to say, look, this structure could be hiding something, and I think we could have a cleaner structure. That's all I said. But that was enough for me to be, well, I mean, my career progression was totally.
Yes.
So if I can come back on a personal note, I still feel, as I look around, there seems to be this need for connection in human beings. I've not had much connection. I've survived mostly without it. And even in situations where I find there is a possibility of connection, I find that I'm not prepared to compromise to a lower level than where I'm at to be part of a connection.
You don't have to lower yourself, but it is important to be able to meet others somewhere in between. Recognize that you become a different person with everyone you're with, and enjoy that process of finding where your two different vibrations create resonance.
That's an interesting way to look at it. I feel I need to take that phrase and replay it and compare it to reality.
Yes.
Okay, well, I think we'll leave it there. Thanks very much. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, that will be all for now.
Okay, thank you so much.
Our thanks to you as well.
On the spaceship of Babel, we are gliding through the stars on a 5-year mission beyond Jupiter and Mars. A celestial encounter on a future Noah's Ark, and you won't hear us coming as we whisper in the dark. There's an Ewok close behind me as we try to disembark here. Obi-Wan Kenobi as we whisper in the dark.